Sorry about the background noise. I have fish tanks. I apologize. My headset's not that good, so I need to go get a better mic. But we're going to, speaking of Mike, we're going to react to Psychology and Body Language by Law by Mike. And I appreciate Law by Mike. I like the guy, but these have issues. A lot of times, what we see in the real world is that people either take things too far or they don't take them far enough. There's almost never an in between. So it's probably best most of the time to take things too far and rein them in. So we're going to use Mike's lessons to rein them in. So let's do this.
This is what the FBI knows when you're not telling.
And I apologize about this. This is the best I can do for what we got. Okay.
The truth. You can use their tricks to suss out liars.
You sure about that?
Likely story. This is without a doubt. The FBI knows when you're not telling the truth. You can use their tricks to suss out liars.
You sure about that?
Likely story. If you think somebody is lying, they could be touching their face or neck. It shows that they're uncomfortable or anxious. They also could be rubbing their hands on their pants.
What's wrong?
This is what the FBI knows when you're not telling the truth. You can use their tricks to suss out liars.
You sure about that?
Likely story. If you think somebody is lying, they could be touching their face or neck. It shows that they're uncomfortable or anxious. They also could be rubbing their hands on their pants.
What's wrong?
And sweaty.
What?
This is not true. Just being uncomfortable, the interrogation room can be hot. Just whatever, you have sweat, you're trying to keep it out of your eye. So automatically you're lying. No, that doesn't work that way. In an interrogation room, you're supposed to be uncomfortable. If it's hot, then you're probably uncomfortable. So that's not at all truth. That's just garbage. Don't listen to that. But I guess if you're going to go to an interrogation room and the cops, try not to sweat, it's kind of stupid.
Why would my hands be sweaty? I was telling the truth. Liars also cross their arms, legs, and ankles. Closing yourself up makes you look guilty. What?
That is a sign of discomfort. Closing yourself off. So an interrogation room that they're trying to make you feel uncomfortable in to get the truth out of you, that automatically means you're lying. No, it means you're uncomfortable. There's nothing else to say for that. This is a sign that I'm uncomfortable. I'm crossing my legs. I watched a professor do this when an annoying guy in class would ask a question, and he would always, as soon as the guy would raise his hand, the professor's legs would cross. And as soon as the guy was done, his legs would uncross. You can see. So does that mean that professor was lying every time that kid asked a question? No, because it doesn't actually add up. You can be uncomfortable and tell the truth. You can be uncomfortable and you can lie. But if you're telling the truth, then why would you be uncomfortable? Because in an interrogation room, you're supposed to be uncomfortable. That's literally what the cops are trying to do. So take away from that is if you're in an interrogation room, don't cross to yourselves. Don't cross up. But yet in real life, that doesn't mean anything but you're uncomfortable or cold.
What honest people do is steeple their hands and keep their thumbs up. Thumbs up.
There's two things here that is very interesting. The thumbs up is a confidence thing, and it does mean you're confident, and people treat you differently when they see this kind of thing. It's just an automatic. So when I stick my hands in my pockets, my thumbs are out. When I walk, my thumbs are up. So this is just something that people do when they are confident. But confidence doesn't mean that it's like I'm comfortable that the cops are going to believe my lies. Pretty much, so that just throws that out the window. But the steeple thing, tell me in the comments, where have you ever seen this at? I really want to know, where have you seen the steeple? Like, this is confidence. This means you're telling the truth. No, it doesn't. You can be completely full of shit. This seems to be a professional thing. It seems to be in the workplace. Apparently law and order, like this is to show that you're professional, that you should be taken seriously. But it does not actually mean you're telling the truth.
Is a subconscious green flag that everything is okay.
Where are those feet pointed, buddy?
Check their feet.
This is really cool because the feet are the number one thing that nobody thinks to hide. People think to do all sorts of stuff with your hands and stuff to try to hide your lying, but nobody ever thinks that the feet need to be hidden. And so if their feet is turned away, if they've got one like in an L, that means they want to leave. That's what that means. So if they've got one foot or both foot pointed towards the door in an interrogation room where they're massively uncomfortable, that makes perfect sense. If they got both feet pointed to you, it means they're focused on you and not the door. So that could mean a lot of things, but it just means they're focused on you. And that's important. You kind of want them to focus on you. But, so for the police, if you're in an interrogation room, keep your feet straight. Always keep them pointed to the person talking. Or to at least the main person in the room. But do not see this as a sign of anything more than that. Now, I will tell you, like out in the real world, so, I'm sitting at a circle table. I've got a girl over here that I know likes me, and it's a circle table, and she's next to me. And so she's leaned this way instead of this way, where we should all be pointed towards the center of the table. No, she's pointed this way because she's kicking me by accident. She's not even meaning to. But this shows you that her focus was over here on me because she liked me. Even though she was doing homework, her feet should have no reason to be pointing over here, but they were. So it's 100%. She likes me. She's like focused on me because of the situation. So this is a really useful technique to learn.
They aren't pointed in your direction. They may have something to hide.
All right, Mike, you're free to go.
I always am. And confess. My tip, tell them you're comfortable with invoking the fifth.
What are the most
Psychological tricks cops use in the interrogation room. Cops will position their chair next to the door to make you feel trapped.
Yes, that's exactly what that does. So Mike's sitting here saying, hey, if you're not lying, then you shouldn't be uncomfortable But the cops are. But the cops. So Mike is saying that you shouldn't be uncomfortable if you're telling the truth. But the cops are literally cutting off your exit to make you feel uncomfortable. So yeah, you would have the technique of lying body language. But that's not correct because you're massively uncomfortable. This is why I tell people don't ever stand or do anything in doorways. If you want that person to be honest with you, if you want that person to actually care about your fucking opinion, then what you do is stop standing in doorways. That way they have an exit. The more exits you can give them, the more likely they are to be honest with you because they're comfortable.
The chairs will be uncomfortable so that you'll want to leave sooner and confess. My tip, tell them you're comfortable with invoking the fifth. Psychological tricks.
That's probably good advice. I'm comfortable pleading the fifth. But he just said it right there. It's about uncomfortable and comfortable. He's just taking it too far. And main takeaway so far is that you should do these if you're in an interrogation room. You should listen to Mike here. But in real world, if you're actually trying to read somebody's body language, do not take these as they're lying or not lying. That is not correct or how any of that works.
How do you convince citizens?
2 things you didn't know about your body language. Did you know that gesturing with 2 hands instead of 1 is a sign of lying? 1 hand shows confidence, 2 hands shows anxiousness, and also hiding your palms is a sign of nervousness.
Now, 2 hands being anxious, maybe. But as you're watching this, I'm using 2 hands to gesture, and I'm not lying to you, and I'm not anxious. So what the hell are you talking about, Mike? I don't understand this. As much as I appreciate this advice, but maybe this is what cops see when you're gesturing. So maybe you should be gesturing with 1 hand instead of 2. But I talk with my hands. I do this. This is what I do. So no, this is not how this works at all. And hiding your palms doesn't mean a fucking thing. It may mean something in the situation, but that's always situational. This is not how this works.
A best bet is not to lie, but if you do, don't leave a clue. 2 things you didn't know about your body language.
This man made
Yo, bro, who got you smiling like that? Like, kill the light, so baby, close your eyes.
I talk with my palms up. There might be something to talking with your palms up. Like I do this, but when you see this is a stop. This is a defensive thing. This is whatever's happening, I'm wanting it to stop. Because something's not right. I want to stop. So I don't know. The palms up is interesting, but I wouldn't base most of my stuff on this. Just know that this is maybe what the cops are looking for, but I wouldn't base any of my nonverbal understanding on this. And I've actually studied nonverbal human communication. I took a role-playing game and taught how to hide your tails, how to hide your body language, and then I taught them to use group dynamics to overcome that lack of information. And I mean, it was a really good study. So yeah, I've done this kind of thing in college. I don't like this one because you're nervous. It automatically means you're shady. So your hands in your pocket. Most people walk with their hands in their pocket like this. I walk with my hands with my thumbs out. It makes you look confident. But yet, just because somebody has their hands in their pocket can make them look unconfident, but it does not mean a fucking thing. But if they're nervous, that's it. That's all you should say. This is they're nervous, so I need to do things to make them unnervous, to make them comfortable, and they'll be actually more likely to tell me the truth. But so when you're dealing with cops, once again, don't stick your hands in your pocket. Which is actually great advice. Don't stick your hands in your pocket when you're dealing with police officers. Do not do that. The Steeple. Just tell me where you see this. Because this is really something that seems conscious. Like you make a conscious effort to do this. Have you ever seen steepling just a natural behavior? I can't imagine it outside of a professional setting. And that's, so it means that you're trying to look professional. So you're taking a deliberate professionalism to something, which can be a good sign when you take it there. Like, okay, so this guy actually wants to look professional. This does not mean anything else. Just stop right there.
Yo,
Costco is cheaper than Amazon.
Psychology hacks lawyers use. When someone asks you a tough question, always respond with, "That's a great question." They'll be less critical about your response because you just complimented them.
That's really good.
Cross your arms and see if they copy you. This is called mirroring. If they copy what you do, they're interested in what you're saying.
This is the type of empathy is mirroring, is a actual form of empathy. Animals actually have this because they need to know if that animal over there is running for its life, then I need to be scared because something's scaring that. And so if something can eat that, it can most likely eat me. So we need to run together. So modeling is actually a thing that's important. That's actually part of neuroscience. Somebody yawns and you yawn. So this is super helpful in the real world. If somebody's uncomfortable, then, you watch them, tighten up. What you can do is tighten up and then put your arms down. And if they're focused on you, like if their feet are pointed at you, they'll mimic it. And they'll actually put their hands down and be more confident, be more comfortable. And they're more likely to open up to you. It's very important. So, the biggest takeaway from this is that you should be using what Mike says when you're dealing with police officers and judges, FBI, because people are teaching these people these techniques mean these things. This is actually taught to police officers. And as we can clearly see here, if you actually use a little bit of logic, it's full of shit. It shows comfort, uncomfortable, confidence, and insecurity. That's it. If you just say those four things and you apply it to the situation, you're more likely to be able to deal with the situation better. But if you're not doing that and you're going, well, that means you're a liar, you're an idiot. You're an actual idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And people are actually like, it just irritates me that people are being taught this. Like, this is actually a police thing being taught. So when you're dealing with police, do what Mike says. But if you're dealing with the real world and you're trying to figure out what somebody's body language is saying, forget all of this except for the confidence. Because he gets it right. Like almost every time, he gets it right most of the time. Confidence, comfort, uncomfortable. But yet, then he goes, well, that means you're lying. That means you're telling the truth. No, it does not. So if somebody's comfortable Like, imagine being in an interrogation room and you see the guy do this. So the police officer's blocking off the door. The police officer, so it might be hot in the room. The police officer's kind of in your face, accusing you or asking you serious questions. Why would you not be, uncomfortable? Why would you not be uncomfortable? So that makes perfect sense that you would be uncomfortable. That's how a normal person would behave under those situations. So if you saw somebody in an interrogation room under that conditions and they're doing this, that would freak me the hell out more, because that guy is making that literal statement. He is trying to be professional and confident. Is he about to do something bad in this room? Did you guys pat him down good enough? Because that's not okay. That would freak me the hell out more. So what do you guys think? When have you ever seen this? Do you think I got it right? Do you think I made sense? Do you think like that? Do you think cops should be taught this way? I would love to hear your opinions in the comment sections. Hey, thank you guys. I love y'all. I appreciate you staying this line. Like, subscribe. I've been trying to use my knowledge of nonverbals in animals, but I thought this was super important and useful. Very, very useful in the real world when you stop with the lies and, that bullshit. So I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good night.